Devlog 6. It's been quite a while since I've last done a devlog, so there's been a lot of progress on the project. There's been sound implemented, collectibles, a basic UI has been implemented, which I do plan to overhaul at some point, but for now, we have a lot of collectibles, textures, added in fog and lighting. Lighting isn't fully done yet, I need to somewhat fix it within engine, but yeah, definitely respawns, as well as some new assets. Combat got cut instead using like a journal kind of method to help give it a bit more of a story, and mainly because I didn't want to program combat at the time. I also took away the fixed cameras because it was just really hard to sort of work around. Yeah, and I also redid the collision in a different way because it was really just not great. But yeah, so as you can see here, if I lower the fog slightly, we can get a better look at the actual assets themselves for now. So you can see obviously we have the main asset which I showcased last time, with the doors and stuff like that. The roads have got textures, we had lampposts, which is also a new asset technically. This also got textured kind of around in here, the platform section. I had to change it from downwards to upwards due to the fog. But yeah, platform wise we have a few changes as well. This pushes inwards and outwards, which I'll showcase in a bit. But yeah, it's meant to resemble like a floppy disk, plays a floppy disk sound. We still have the launcher platform and then a return platform. Along with that, texture wise, we also have all the new assets. This is more of a miscellaneous asset that I plan to put around, just a basic sort of broken building. The infinitum orb is also back in there. Yeah, so I'll start showcasing it now. But yeah, so collectibles also against sound with the collectible count over in the right corner, and in the other corner we have the lives. So if I just jump off this edge, complete scene, yeah. Push about there, and there's one less. So it runs on a life system rather than anything else. Sound-wise, we have a backing track. The big collectibles also make sound when you get near them and stuff like that. And the final area, whilst it isn't planned yet, the basic endpoint is all planned here. So if I click E here, there's maybe two beacons which sort of show the light, but they've disappeared into the asset for some reason. Yeah. So I'll quickly showcase the platforming section, because that's where most of the changes were kind of made. But yeah, as you can also see, collision is a lot more precise than it used to be. As before, you were sort of like floating off the ground to some degree, and it was always a bit iffy, especially in certain areas like the main building. I'll add the fog once I quickly finish this section as well. But yeah. So then I'd like to put this back in, so we'll get some upwards. So still got time to around in. Otherwise that still happens. So use the dash as well to help to get it right there. Moves upwards as well. Also within this, I did have a small problem where basically the Y velocity was pushing the character upwards. But since a lot of my platforming does use that, I had to basically put a invisible wall on the platform that raises upwards, as otherwise you would basically just fall straight. Well, you could just basically just boot yourself out of the playing area. There's another sound I also put in the platform areas in order to hear it. There's footsteps, dash sound, drum sound, and stuff like that also. scrape that down. Mildly as well, the platforms do look a bit weird whenever you return on them, as since they're disappearing platforms, the way I programmed it just takes away all the transformations of the thing, and it puts them as these very large blocks, which I do need to find a way to sort of fix, but it's not too game breaking right now. Like, everything is still platformable. Basically, I also added a little hint here as well for the puzzle, but I found that a lot of people are struggling with the puzzle, so I added in a sound basically whenever you open a part of the sequence to obviously showcase nothing about that. The backing tracks I got off I'm forgetting the name, but I got all of that stuff basically within this one site, which I will put whilst I'm editing this. And my main plan is once I have put in like the journal assets and made the assets for them, you'll be able to basically unlock more journal entries through collecting enough of the infinity crystals. So it adds a sort of reward for the player for actually collecting rather than just being somewhat like guiding force. Yeah. Another thing as well I also did here, which I'll quickly just jump down to showcase this. Obviously this door is the final door. This lights the triangle, the hell case, because I found in testing a little place didn't know this is basically a final door. So this will open basically lead to the funnel area once I have made it. It's obviously still a lot of polishing to do, but it's taken a lot more shape than I had before. But yeah, it's basically this platform over here, which raises upwards. Basically if you go down that way so you can get back up. Yeah. That's about most of the changes. I'll quickly just showcase. Also around here, you can hear that sound there. That's as you get closer to the big collectibles, they play this sort of like aura sound to help the player know that basically they're near a big collectible. After this I'll do a quick little showcase of what it looks like with the fog. This is just to help you better see the assets. But yeah. This is the camper made. I haven't done collision for it yet, but this is basically where your player character is meant to be like camping out on his like journeys and all that. So you can see there's a little like table for stuff there. Which we have a thing, when I do textures there'll be like a map on there, and then this is sort of meant to be the actual journal that you have the entries from. It's based on some concept art I did. It's pretty accurate toward that, so yeah. Let me just quickly turn that fog back up. Oh, I feel like it was not 6. Yeah. So with the fog, obviously, it looks a lot different. Things are a little bit hard to see, so that's why there's a lot of quite intense lighting. It's basically just like how the players sort of see around. And why all the collectibles sort of have a light sort of link to them. But yeah, so as we can see here, adds a lot of atmosphere to it. I do think it might be a little bit too heavy, but that's something I'll sort of decide on during later on in the production and stuff. Yeah, there's footsteps, jump sounds, dash sounds, collectible sounds, and then a few backing tracks. And then I do have the backing track plan for the final sort of area. If I could go to my sounds here. Yeah, it seems I haven't quite put on there. If I could go down into... I haven't imported it yet because I haven't actually obviously made that area, but it will be something like this. And then also there'll be like an electric humming that gets louder as you go through the area. But yeah, so about level updates wise, that's about all I really have to show. So for the final area, the basic plan is that you basically, as you enter the room, the simulation starts to break down. So all the textures start off with full alpha, but as you go past these lines, the alpha starts to go down on the textures, making them less visible till eventually there's just no textures there, where eventually you reach the cervical, which the cervical will still remain with its texture, but nothing else will. And you have to basically do a Simon Says sort of thing, where you platform to different sort of switches, which move further and further away with each wall that goes down, and you return to the platform. Then the platform, basically gives you the next sequence of numbers, go through till you basically get to the end. Then once you destroy the server, basically the screen will go straight to black for about a few seconds, and then have like a OS system sort of like reset thing, which then eventually will just put you back to the title screen. So if we go to like sort of a basic gameplay loop, you start off, you explore, you interact with a panel where it shows you the Simon sort of says like puzzle solution towards it. Then you platform, solve puzzle, and then wall goes down, repeat 4 times until then you interact with core, then basically crash in quotation marks, and then title screen. I've also written all the journal entries, which basically starts off with a character named K. Phoebus, which is just a placeholder name for now. I probably will replace it because I'm not the biggest fan of it. But he goes on about how he basically busts scavenging, he finds a journal. Then he basically goes on about the past, goes on about a map showcasing, a way to a core, talks about a, rebel sort of cause attack, relates and stuff to also the sort of like camps and stuff like that that's related to the last empire that had control before the supercomputer takes full control. Then, he goes in through about his sort of journey and how the infinitum seems to be somewhat blocking him. Eventually, then it goes on to how he finds a clear path. It says basically just hopes it's not too long, saying, it's going to the capital. Then next he goes on about the tunnel for a bit more, says about an old maintenance room which has some working terminals. Then basically he starts going on about how there's information in the terminals and stuff like that. After that he still goes on about how basically nothing in the world sort of makes sense and stuff like that, talking about existence and stuff like that, relating to the simulation aspects of the plot. And then basically it goes on to about his like death count, but he sends out a beacon before it, we send someone mysterious of your player character who's just 3 question marks for now. Basically is like an ex-rebel or something like that. One of the final attacks, finds the journal and like the terminals and stuff like that, arrives there, and then he basically sort of talks a bit about the city, says about how he made a map, says how you need 3 keys, introducing how to open the door and stuff. And then it goes and talks about where the key spots are and what you need to sort of do to unlock them. Which, yeah, so that's all about the journal entries for now. They're still in a very rough draft, so I mean, they're still very subject to change.